Hello guys, TavHG here and welcome back to another video, and this video is going to be a little bit different because we aren't actually going to be doing anything, but what I will be doing is discussing the computer parts I have chosen for an upcoming build. Now this isn't a new computer with fancy parts in it like RTX 3000, this is going to be a computer made up of older parts which probably don't really make much sense to buy these days, because you can probably get newer hardware for less money which performs better. But I've chosen these parts and today I'm going to be discussing why I've chosen them, so hopefully this should be interesting in some way. And as I said, I've not yet got all the parts in. They are all on order through eBay. They'll be arriving within a few days hopefully. So let's discuss the things that have arrived so far. So I've got the RAM here, the motherboard with an I/O shield, that's something you can't take for granted, as well as the power supply. So first off, let's talk about this motherboard, and that should then lead us on to the CPU which I'm getting, which hasn't arrived yet. So this motherboard is the Asus P8Z77WS, so that is a Z77 motherboard, and the WS stands for workstation. So this was a pretty high-end board back in the day. I'll put the camera a bit closer and we can take a closer look at this thing. Okay, there we are, there's the board, and you can tell that it's a pretty nice one because it's got power and reset buttons mounted to the board. Now most motherboards, even today, to do those things you've got to still get a screwdriver and arc two pins together. But it's very nice to see that this board has it, and it's also got a little code readout screen on it as well, so that should be quite good for troubleshooting if we do come into any problems. Now this being a Z77 board, that means it supports socket 1155 processors from Intel, and the chip I have chosen for this is the Core i5 2500K. Now that is definitely an older chip now, but it is a very capable overclocker, so hopefully with that chip I can make some videos about overclocking it and hopefully getting some very nice performance out of it. And because I am going to be doing overclocking, that's why I chose this pretty nice board. And since it is a workstation one, it's actually got dual Ethernet ports on it, which is quite nice. It's got 4 USB 3s, 4 USB 2s, 2 eSATAs on the back as well. So we've got quite a nice selection of ports as well. And of course, here's the I/O shield. It's quite a nice one as well. It seems to be in very nice condition considering that this board has probably been in a machine that has been used quite a lot. Okay, so if we look at this board, we can see it has 4 full-size X16 PCIe slots, and that brings us on to the graphics cards that I have chosen. For these parts I'll put pictures up on the screen of the ones that I am getting. So I've chosen to get 2 GTX 760s by Gigabyte. They're the 3 fan ones. So I've got 2 and I will be putting those in SLI. So hopefully they will fit in slot 1 and slot 2. But if not, I will then put the first one in the top slot, the second one in the third slot. But I have ordered an SLI bridge as well. It's only a 10cm one, so it may not reach from there to there if that's what we need to do. I'm not too sure. I guess I could measure it. I've got a ruler. So a 10cm bridge should make the gap between those if we need to, but hopefully we can use the 2 closer together slots. Now I know that the GTX 700 series is very outdated these days. Not many games support them at all, but I really won't be playing games on this. This is kind of just a cool system to play around with and experiment with, and I've always wanted to have a dual GPU system. So this will be a first for me, and hopefully I can have quite a lot of fun with it. Now also, one thing I have got is the RAM. I've got 2 sticks here. I'll take them out of their rather weird packaging of just being wrapped up in plastic, and here is one of them. This is Corsair Vengeance Pro RAM. This is of course DDR3 to work with this board. This is actually quite nice. It's got quite a lot of weight to it. The top looks very nice, so it should look good in this system. It's got silver on the back as well. Very nice. I've got two of those. Those run at 1866 megahertz, but we may be able to potentially overclock it. Let's get the other stick out of its plastic and let's just put them straight into the board right now. So I'm assuming it'll be the blue slots. So let's just pop this in now. Why wait if I've got the parts? There we go, that is one stick in, and the second stick also in as well. That RAM does look very nice indeed. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is what will be going over this CPU socket. So of course we're getting the i5 2500K. Then to cool that, I've gone with the very popular Hyper 212, but not any. I've gone with the black edition. I was going to get a used one, but it turns out that getting new ones was actually cheaper by quite a few pounds. So I've bought that on Amazon. It says it will be here on Saturday. Today is Wednesday, but for some reason I doubt that because it's already at the local depot for delivery. So whenever that turns up, it will turn up. There's no point getting it before the CPU. But then again, there's no point having the CPU before the cooler because I can't really turn this on without the cooler. I've got no other cooler which is compatible with socket 1155. And speaking of the socket, let's lift up this very nice socket cover here and we can see the socket. I've had a quick inspection of it and it seems to be in perfect condition. Well, saying that, there does actually appear to be a bit of dirt in there. I'm not sure it will focus. No, it won't, but you can probably see that white bit kind of there. That's something I'll deal with later. Should be quite easy to get out. Maybe a bit of compressed air will help. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that really. No, so now I've discussed pretty much everything. It's now onto the power supply. This has just arrived from eBay. Very prompt delivery. It got dispatched yesterday and it's here already. This is a Corsair CX750M. I've taken a look. It seems to be in very nice condition. Hardly any dust on the fan. I'll probably clean that off later. And since this is an M model, that means it is a semi-modular one. So the only two hardwired cables are the CPU power as well as the 24 pin for the motherboard. And I do have all the other cables, so I do have enough 6 and 8 pin connectors to power the two GTX 760s. They are very power hungry and that's why I had to get such a big power supply. I've not tested it yet. I probably won't until the other components get here. Now the final thing I think I need to discuss is where all these components will be housed, and that of course is the case, and the case I have chosen is the Cooler Master Half X, or whatever you want to call it. HAF, it stands for high airflow, so whether I pronounce it HAF or half, I don't suppose it really matters, but that's the case I've gone for. Of course that is a very old case now. It's been out probably about 10 years. I got a very good deal on eBay, £50 for one that's been looked after very nicely, and the only problem is some of the hard drive bays, but won't be putting any hard drives in here anyway, so that doesn't really matter. So hopefully that should get here in a few days and then we can start building. Now it does have red LED fans in it, and of course this motherboard's kind of a bit blue, so there'll probably be a bit of clashing there, but I think you can turn the LEDs on the fans off, and eventually, hopefully, we'll replace the fans with blue, get some blue LED strips in there as well, and make a very nice blue system inside the Half X. So I'm very, very excited for that indeed, and I've checked and the graphics cards are pretty long. They're about as long as this ruler, but I've checked and they should fit in the case, no problem. So yeah, hopefully all this goes to plan and works out nice. I'm very excited to have a dual graphics card system. I think it'll look very cool even if it doesn't perform very well in 2020, but that's not really a concern of mine. Of course we can do a video testing how well it does work in 2020, that will be interesting, but performance is not my main concern with this system. So yeah, I think that that is pretty much it for this video, apart from the boot drive, but I'll just find an SSD. I've probably got one lying around somewhere, so we can just use an SSD, whichever one is spare at the time. So I think that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it was interesting in some way and maybe a little bit exciting, because there will be quite a few good videos coming up on the channel soon. So thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one, which will either be the one about the laptops which I said I would make last week, or it will be one with all of the components ready to build in the case. So I will see you in whatever video that ends up being. Goodbye.